Hey guys, how's it going? Clonks here again for another episode of my FC24 Manchester United Career Mode series. If you did miss the last episode, go check it out in the description below. But if you did see it, then you will know that we had a bit of a disappointing episode. So we had 3 draws in the league, and then we lost a very crucial game against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, which effectively knocked us not only out of the Champions League, but of Europe altogether, being in bottom place in the group. So now out of the 4 competitions we were in, we are out of 2 of them. And in the league, we're not looking like we're going to win that either. But in today's episode we have 4 games all in the league, starting with a very big one at Anfield against Liverpool. Then we'll play West Ham, Aston Villa, and to finish the episode off we will play Nottingham Forest, which will then take us into the January transfer window, and with Varane and Scott McTominay handing in transfer requests, we will definitely be looking for a centre-back and potentially a new CDM. But that's for next episode, so let's jump straight into this one. So we begin the episode off against Liverpool at Anfield. This is their team. Alisson Becker in goal, Robertson, Virgil van Dijk, Konate, Hakimi, Endo, Gravenberch, McAllister, Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah in a 4-3-3 holding. And then my team is Onana, Malacia, Martinez, Lindelof, Dalot, Mount, Casemiro, Fernandes, Rashford, Girassi and Marlon. Hopefully we can end our streak of draws with a win. Here we go then, Liverpool kicking off for this big game at Anfield. First chance came for Liverpool then in the 14th minute. Van Dijk plays a nice ball to Gravenberch, who plays a really nice ball out to Hakimi, who tries to whip the ball in, but actually clips the bar as it came across. Then 5 minutes later we get a chance. A poor pass from Endo ends up with Girassi, plays it to Rashford, and I don't know how he hasn't put that in. It's a huge chance for Marcus Rashford, one-on-one against Alisson, and just blazes it wide. Then it was Liverpool's turn to attack again. So Hakimi is with the ball, so he drives out of defence, gets around Mason Mount nicely, brings it inside, gets around Bruno Fernandes and Mount yet again, plays a nice ball to McAllister, who gets it to Gravenberch, who takes a strike and just wide. So 4 minutes later, Mason Mount picks up the ball and a poor bit of play means he loses it. McAllister gets it back, plays into Darwin Núñez, who plays a nice ball over to Mo Salah, who then runs at Martinez, backing away, gets around him, takes a strike. Onana's there yet again. Then from the resulting corner, they take his shot. Mo Salah whips it in. Lindelof gets there, and Rashford gets around Diaz nicely. We're on the break. Marlon plays it over to Mount, who plays it to Bruno Fernandes, who plays a really nice, delicious ball to Marcus Rashford. He's through one-on-one again, takes the strike, but another poor shot from him means Alisson saves it, and that is how the half ends. So we go into half-time 0-0. So the first chance of the second half doesn't come till the 62nd minute. The ball fizzes about, bounces off everyone, but Liverpool get the lucky break. Robertson then ends up with it, drives it in, plays it into Darwin Núñez, plays it across to Salah, back to Núñez, takes a strike, and Onana has a big save yet again. A few minutes later, Liverpool come at us yet again. So Endo plays it into McAllister, who drives out of defence, and Martinez gets a toe in, but Malacia can't deal with it, which means McAllister ends up back with the ball. He then lays it back to Hakimi, who plays it into Mo Salah, who takes a strike, and we are so lucky that went wide. Then not long after, Liverpool come at us yet again. Gravenberch ends up with it, plays a nice ball out to Luis Diaz, who ends up cuts back and gets the cross in to Mo Salah, takes the strike. Malacia blocks it, but the ref deems that he blocks it with his hand and gives a penalty. Now this is the replay. Doesn't look great for him there. VAR had a double check and decided that it is a penalty. He makes himself bigger. It's a penalty, which Mo Salah steps up but doesn't finish it. Hits the post, so we get away with it. The final chance of the game actually falls for us then in the 83rd minute. Malacia with a delicious ball across the Highland, lays it across to Rashford, who can't put it in. Alisson with a big save. But Rashford, I just couldn't believe he didn't score that. But the game does end 0-0. Listen, I'll take it. We had a big chance then, but we also did give away a penalty which Liverpool missed, and Liverpool were the better team, so I'll take a draw. So when we got back, we actually had 2 transfer offers for Scott McTominay, one from Newcastle, one from Aston Villa, and also the confirmation of Rafael Varane going off to Real Madrid in January. So I asked for 20.5 million from Newcastle for Scott McTominay, which Newcastle agreed, and I did the same with Aston Villa. They also agreed, so McTominay's either going to Newcastle or Villa. It's up to him. And there was the confirmation that he did choose Newcastle, so Scott McTominay leaves us in January for Newcastle. Then we had some scout reports back, and we had this one player, Zachary Evans from England, looks a decent player. 2.9 million value already at 16 years old. He's a right mid. We will change him to a right wing, but he looks like a promising prospect for the future. Okay, so jumping into the second game of the episode against West Ham. So their team is Areola, Emerson, Zuma, Ogard, Johnson, Benrahma, Douglas Luiz, Alvarez, Bowen, Paqueta and Wilson up top. And then our team was Onana, Luke Shaw, Inacio, Martinez, Wan-Bissaka, Fernandes, Casemiro, Kubo in the cam again, Rashford, Girassi and Daniel Malen. So West Ham get the first chance inside 10 minutes. Bowen laser back off to Wilson and another big save from Onana. Then nothing happens then till the 30th minute. A poor clearance by West Ham means Malen could head it down to Girassi. Laser off to Kubo, gives it to Rashford, out to Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw drives, takes a little dink in, and Girassi's there to header it home. I wasn't expecting that to go in. I thought the cross was poor from Luke Shaw, but it turned out to be a nice little dink in for Girassi, straight on his head. Not sure how that beats Areola. He'll be disappointed with that, but we'll take it. And the next chance doesn't come till the end of the game. West Ham have one last push to try and equalise. Kudos runs down the right wing, plays it inside to Bowen, takes a strike, easy for Onana, and overall a pretty poor game. But these are the kind of games that you'll take the 3 points all day long. It wasn't the spectacular performance, but we'll take it. So this is how the table's looking now halfway through this episode. So we are in 7th with 31 points, 4 points behind Spurs in 4th. That's where we want to be, so hopefully we can get some big performances in the next 2 games. Then we had a message from Spurs saying that Reguilon's appearances weren't enough for their liking, but I'm not too fussed about that. And Bruno Fernandes wasn't happy with how performances were at the minute, but hopefully we can turn that around. So jumping into the Aston Villa game, this is their team. So they had Martinez in goal, Moreno, Lenglet, Konsa, Cash, Zaniolo, Kamara, Tielemans, Ramsey, Diaby and Watkins. And then our team was Onana, Reguilon playing, Martinez, Lindelof, Dalot, Mount, Reinides, Fernandes, Garnacho, Girassi and Daniel Malen. Might be Reguilon's last game for us. So the first chance falls for Aston Villa in the 25th minute on the counter-attack. So Watkins plays it to Ramsey. Ramsey then holds onto the ball for a bit, cuts back, plays a nice ball into Moreno, who takes an early cross in. Watkins chests it down, takes a strike, big save from Onana. Then just before half-time, Aston Villa come at us again. Diaby with the ball, driving, gets inside the box, lays it back to Tielemans, takes a strike, ends up back with it, but it doesn't fall for him, and then we get it away, and the ref blows his half-time whistle. We go into this one 0-0. Then at the beginning of the half, Aston Villa come at us again. Zaniolo lays it back to Cash. Cash gets around Garnacho nicely. Zaniolo just about keeps himself onside to receive the ball, then lays it back into Diaby, who's 1-on-1 with Onana, and taps it home. We fall behind in this one against Aston Villa. A nice finish. Bit poor defensively from us. Zaniolo was found with way too much space, and same with Diaby. Give him that space, he'll put it in. Then on the 60-minute mark, we get a chance. Bruno Fernandes with a nice bit of play, a bit of skill to get around his man. Turns him nicely, gets free, then lays it off to Mason Mount, who gets some space to shoot. A poor finish though. Then Villa come at us again. A nice ball out to Ramsey, who ends up getting round his man and actually gets way too much space. Lays it back into Diaby again, but Onana has a big hand on it. In the 70th minute, Watkins puts a ball into Zaniolo, who does a ball roll and actually a really nice touch to get himself 1-on-1 with Onana. Onana comes out and actually gets his hand to it, but they end up with the ball anyway. Zaniolo trying to make something work here, but we actually end up winning the ball back with Martinez, and then it was our turn to break. Fernandes plays a nice ball to Rashford. Rashford inside to Garnacho. Nice first time pass to Højlund, who then finds Garnacho, who then finds himself 1-on-1 against Martinez. He's got to put this in, and he doesn't. So then in the final few minutes, we have one last chance to try and get something out of this poor performance really overall. We get a nice ball into Højlund, who uses his strength nicely to play it out to Reguilon. He then cuts it back onto his right to try and find Bruno Fernandes, but he can't. Moreno gets it away, and Aston Villa take 3 points in this one. Disappointing, it was a poor performance. I really wanted the 3 points in this one to try and push into that top 4. It wasn't to be, but hopefully we can win this next game against Nottingham Forest. So this was a Nottingham Forest team going into this game. So they had Odysseus in goal, Tofolo, Worrell, Felipe and Ori as the back four, Sangare, Danilo and Dominguez in the middle, with Hudson-Odoi, Ahmad from on loan from us, and Awaini up top. And then this was our team: Onana, Shaw, Inacio, Martinez, Dallo, Mount, Casemiro, Fernandez, Rashford, Hoyland and Daniel Marlin. So early on in this game, Nottingham Forest come at us. Oria with a nice flick into Dominguez, who finds Amad Diallo. Nice bit of skill to get around the defence. Then it falls for Awaini, who hits the post, and we end up getting it away, thank God. Then we get a chance with Mason Mount running at their defence. He plays a nice ball into Bruno Fernandes, who works himself some space for a shot, takes the strike, a good save from the goalkeeper, and then Daniel Marlin's cross does go straight into the goalkeeper's hands. Then a few minutes later, we get a chance. Mount whips a ball in. Rashford goes for spectacular, goes nowhere near the goal. But we end up getting the ball back for a second phase of the attack into Daniel Marlin. Lays it off to Bruno Fernandes, who plays a really delicious ball out to Luke Shaw. Takes one touch, crosses it in, looking for Mount. Ball falls for Daniel Marlin, but he can't finish. Then in the 30th minute, we get another chance. Bruno Fernandes lays a nice ball out to Marlin, who takes a really nice first touch, drives in, lays it back to Hoyland, takes a strike and a good save from the goalkeeper, but Hoyland should be finishing that. Been disappointed with him this season so far. But then from the resulting corner, Bruno Fernandes whips it in, tries to find Mount. Mount takes a strike, it hits Danilo on the hand, and the ref points to the spot. This was the replay. Now I've got to admit that looking at this replay, it looks a bit harsh. But I will tell you now, it still looks harsh to me at the minute, but for whatever reason I decided that this was a penalty. His arm is out. I can clearly, it's one of those ones where it was a bit dodgy, but we went with the ref's decision and Bruno Fernandes scored the penalty. Maybe it shouldn't have been a penalty. Let me know what you guys think. Clearly I thought it was a penalty when I was recording, but Fernandes finishes it off and we take a 1-0 lead. So just before half-time, we have one final chance to try and finish the half off on a high. So Marlon drives around the defence, gets in, takes a strike, a good save, and they get it clear, and we do go into half-time 1-0 up. Then the same as the first half, it is actually Nottingham Forest who get the first chance in the second half. Awini plays it into Danilo, who lays it back to Hudson-Odoi, and we've seen this before. Hudson-Odoi with the footwork to get around me. He did that in the previous game at Old Trafford. I just can't get anywhere near him. He's just got the footwork to get around the defenders. There's delicious, and he makes it 1-1. And Nottingham Forest were not done there. Awini plays a nice ball to Ahmad, who plays it back to Danilo, back to Ahmad, back to Awini, who then plays a nice ball back to Ahmad. And watch this goal. Ahmad Diallo is on loan from us, and he has the audacity to go and score a goal like that. It's poor defending from Martinez, but this turn from Diallo, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I couldn't believe that he scored that. We then come from kickoff. I was fuming that he scored that. So from kickoff, we get a chance. So Marlon runs down the wing, cuts it back, lays a ball off to Bruno Fernandes, who takes a strike, and it's a good save. But we're 2-1 down. Then in the 80th minute, we get a chance again. Kubo plays it to Marlon. Marlon then puts a nice ball into Hoyland, who plays it back to Marlon off the defender. Good ball into Fernandes. Nice layoff to Rashford, touch and finish. We equalise, get a 2-2. Good finish in the end by Rashford. Nice couple of passes to lead up to the goal, and we can hopefully get a third now. But we didn't get a third. It actually does end 2-2, so yet another draw. These draws are killing us at the minute. So when we got back, we had a couple of emails because we had just reached the 1st of January, so we're officially in the January transfer window. We had confirmation here of Varane and McTominay leaving us for Real Madrid and Newcastle respectively, and then we did have confirmation of Reguilon being recalled by Spurs for lack of appearances, and we also had the same message from Fiorentina for Amrabat. So in the next episode, we are definitely signing a centre-back and a CDM. Okay, so this is how the table looks to end this episode. So we end up in 7th, but the gap to 4th is growing. It's now 7 points. We want it to decrease, but it's increasing because of these draws. We're not losing many games, but we're drawing too many. We're not winning enough. But hopefully in the next episode we can get a couple of wins. We do have the January transfer window, and I'll get into the other games that we'll be playing in the next episode in a second. But first I just wanted to show you what the season stats were looking like halfway through the season. So Isak is top of the goal scoring charts with 12 goals, and our top goal scorer is Marcus Rashford in 6 with 9, and there's the rest of them. Feel free to pause if you want to have a more in-depth look. And the assist leader is actually Saka with 9, ours is Fernandes and Girassi 10th and 11th with 4, and there's the rest again. Feel free to pause. And then the same with the clean sheets, with Onana actually in 3rd with 6th, but feel free to pause to look at the more in-depth look. So the next episode then, we're finally in the January transfer window like I mentioned, so we will be having a couple of signings, but we will also play these 3 games. This big game against Spurs in the FA Cup. We're out of the other 2 competitions, so we definitely want to progress in that one. Then we'll play Spurs again in the league and Wolves to finish it off. But this is where we'll end this episode now, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like on the video and subscribe so you don't miss anything else from this series on my channel. This episode has been a bit of a longer one. I just wanted to get to this January transfer window so we can get the players we need in to have a big second half to this season, because we need it. Hopefully we can get that top 4 and maybe even the FA Cup. We'll see how it goes. But until the next episode, take care, guys.